Welcome back to the Culturepath Experience, everybody. I am your host, Reggie Chapman. I'm joined by a very special guest, Tele Mike. Tele Mike, welcome to the discussion. Thank you for giving us some time, man. And before we just get started, quick background check. If you can like your elevator pitch of who you are and what people need to know about you before we really get going.
Yeah, man. I was born in farm country in in Delaware. Man, I grew up playing a lot of sports, especially baseball. Went to HBCU there, Delaware State. But even when I was young, I loved the snow, loved the snow. So fast forward, after college, I started skiing right away. So I went from kind of the farm fields to mountains, and that's home for me. And I ski all over the mountain, and I do mean all over. Just got back from New Zealand.
Incredible, man. Incredible. So how does one get into that space? Like, why is that something that you like coming out of college, you felt like you really wanted to get into?
So man, I grew up, in the country, in farm community. So I was always in the woods. Like the woods, man, that was, when things weren't going right, I'm a tree hugger, man. I was in the woods, and that's where everything would feel a little bit better. Um, you know, got into corporate America, and then especially for brothers and sisters, man, that's a grind. So I needed to get back to something that grounded me,
Right.
really. So, there's a whole backstory. I was there at 9/11, and had some experience with that. And I said, hey, man, what am I doing? Life is short. Where you
Right.
really want to be? It was in the mountains. I needed to be in the mountains and on snow and skiing, but skiing at a high level. So that's how I got there. That's just where home is.
Wait, so break it down. So where does 9/11 come into the mix here? So you
Yeah,
said,
man. So at the time, I was working for Merck Pharmaceutical. On that corporate grind.
yeah.
Being an executive, and I'm driving to work in the Merck one day. And I go on I-95, which you could look right from on the Jersey side. You can look right into New York. You can see that skyline. I'm driving. I'm like, man, I look at the skyline every day. Why is the World Trade Center smoking like it's got a smokestack? Everything came to a halt. Got out of our cars. Man, I watched the second plane hit. And that's when my mind was immediately like, yo, you were supposed to meet your homegirl, take the path over at 8 o'clock tonight. You just missed that by 12 hours. What you doing?
Wow.
So right there, it was right there. It was like audible, like, what do you want to do? And it was, let's go ski. Let's go to the mountains.
That is incredible, man. I mean, so in that moment, you're having the feeling of where does that kind of feeling come from? It's just, hey, what am I doing with my life? Is it like, what was the thing that clicked, and why was it skiing that you felt like you had to do? Was it something that you had said, I want to try doing, and you just never did? Like, where does the thought process kind of come from?
Yeah, man. Again, I don't know. When I'm at Delaware State, I'm, studying calculus, and I, just skiing would always come up. I was like, man, when I get a little bit of money, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
that. Um, and it's I feel like some of these things that you do, right? If someone plays a sport, or someone plays the violin, or someone sings, or someone does art, that's just in you. I can't really describe it. I just say, a skier, and specifically a telemark skier, that's what I am. Hey, I got brown skin. My mom is Native American, pops is black. I'm Native and black. That's just what I am. I'm a skier. That's just part of me. I can't really tell you, anything beyond that as to why. I'm sort of like being a fish. You got to be in water.
I feel okay. Well, look, one thing you can probably explain is your name, Tele Mike. It comes from the type of skiing that you do. Can you break down what that is compared to what normal quasi quote skiing is?
Yeah, brother. And I want to say it this way. A controversial way of
Sure, let's get into it.
So skiing. Everyone thinks that skiing. It's you think about Sweden. You think Switzerland, Sweden. You think about Norway. You think about even China. They found skis in those areas. What about Africa? So so are you going to tell me that in places like South Africa that has mountains, they have ski resorts there? in Morocco, Africa. I've skied Morocco. They have mountains there. They didn't think of the same thing. They didn't think
Mm.
that, hey, I need to get from A to B because that's what skiing was. Hey, I'm going to get from A to B. I'm going to there's this wood. I'm going to flatten it out. Um, and then I'm gonna tie it to my toes, sort of like cross country. So everyone knows what cross country skiing is. Your
Yeah.
heel comes up and you're tethered at the toe. So that's how people got around. And so people always say, hey, skiing started in in Europe, maybe China. What about Africa? We just don't have that documentation of it. But people are people, right? I mean, it snowed in Africa too. They had to get around. So the type of skiing that I do, where you're actually skiing down the mountain, is the traditional way your heel is down. But the way I ski is one heel comes up at a time, and I'm actually making lunges all the way down the mountain when I ski, and that's telemark skiing. And once I got into the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports, that's where there are a lot of mics, so they called me Tele Mike, or telemark skier Mike. So that's kind of the skiing I do, and that's kind of where it comes from.
Wow. So how do you describe that type of skiing, like the skill set that you need for that type of skiing versus what would the more known would be downhill skiing? Is that kind of where the difference is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So again, telemark skiing was created out of necessity. Again, you're going to go from point A to B. You're going to go. Let's go hunt.
Yeah.
Hey, there's 5 feet of snow. We're going to sink. Um, so it's a lot more strenuous if you think about it. I mean, you're
Yeah.
making lunges down the mountain, so it takes a fair bit of endurance. You're one heel is down. Say if you're making a left-handed turn, your left heel is down, but you are actually standing on the ball of your foot on your right ski. Um, there's a lot of balance that you need. Think about you need to be almost like a gymnast, kind of
Right.
to make those turns. But again, I like the sensation, and it also it's because I'm a backcountry skier, meaning I may leave the resort. I don't show up at the resort at all. I show up
Oh,
at the mountain, get out of my car, and I start hiking up the mountain. Telemark skiing allows you to do that. Um, again, going back to what is this telemark skiing, and how was skiing invented? Again, maybe let's say again back in Morocco, back in South Africa, you're hunting, but you needed to go up the mountain. There's 5 feet of snow. You need to go up the mountain. Well, you have the ski. So how are you going to get up there without sliding back? Well, you're probably going to put an animal skin on the bottom of that. Maybe it's a horse hide, or whatever animal that has fur. You're going to put that on the bottom of your ski. Now all of a sudden, you can walk up the mountain. Now you go hunting up there. Now you need to come back down. You need less friction. So you rip those animal skins off, and then you're sliding and gliding down the mountain easy and breezy.
yeah.
We still do the exact same thing, except it's not real animal, fur that's on the ski. It's a synthetic. We call it skins. We still call it skins, and that's when that's how you hike up the mountain in the backcountry. Rip those things off when you get to the top, and now you're sliding and gliding down. It's a great exercise. Beautiful scenery, and man, you're the one of the only people out there.
Man, so from how I'm understanding it, it's kind of like a good mix of like the hiking aspects of being outdoors with also the exercise, but also you also get the downhill skiing aspect of it as well. It's all of these different pieces being outdoorsman kind of mixed together.
Man, so I'll tell you this, brother. I do not like hiking.
And look,
so,
it doesn't sound. I mean, it sounds like you do though, man. You're
so so I'll say it this way. So I was, what probably part got me into this was I was in the Boy Scouts. So we hiked 75 miles of the Appalachian Trail. So when I was
Mhm.
12 years old, man, I didn't. I mean, I liked the experience, but of course, I'm the only brother in the Boy Scouts in my troop. So really wasn't connecting to me. But I wasn't really feeling hiking, because you hike up the mountain, and I'm like, man, now I got to hike down the mountain. Now, if you give me some skis and tell me that you're going to put 5 feet of snow on that, and I can go ski that, oh yeah, man, I'll do that all day, because you gave me something to go get, I'll hike that. I hike for that because I
Yeah.
get to slide and glide down. Mountain biking's the same way.
You know what? That's almost the perfect way to explain it. It's just like mountain biking because you're hiking up this hill or you're biking up this hill, but you of course get the actual feel of being able to go down it. Right? It creates that feeling of it was worth it to be going through this entire journey, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. A lot of people, in my community, they're like, oh man, Tele Mike, all he likes to do is hike. I don't like. I like to get to good snow. I like,
Right.
So by the way, I have a snowmobile. I have a snowmobile. I will get on that thing in a hot minute, and we'll go take laps, that way as well.
So why not? So why go into teleskiing versus just doing the regular downhill where you just take up you get on the gondola and go all the way to the top? Because that's the one I've done before. I'm not because like you said, I don't like the whole hiking up a hill thing, right? So why not just get into that aspect where you're just going on the gondola? Why did you decide to do it this way versus how it's seen and most people
Yeah,
do it?
yeah, absolutely, man. No, first of all, look, I love going to the ski resort.
Right.
I love getting in those laps. You know, but I think a lot of people, once you get into skiing, snowboarding, what's kind of the quintessential or the kind of the top of the pyramid type of feeling that you get? Everyone wants to ski powder, right?
Right.
Well, you're not going to find too much powder at the ski resort unless you go like the day that it's snowing or the day after, or how to go find it. So I will do that. Hey, it dumped like, hey, 2 feet. Hey, let's go to Vale, let's go to Breckenridge, Copper, let's go get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're going to ski that out in about 2 or 3 days. Now, where is all the snow? Outside of the ski resort. Now let's go chase that. So that's what's gotten me out, because man, I'm chasing the snow. I'm chasing the powder, and it is like I know it's hard if you don't have an experience, but riding powder, especially Telly, man, it is like a high that no one's ever felt, man. That you if you know, then you know.
So that's why we're here, because at least we might not know, but at least we got somebody here that can kind of explain it to us. That's what we love having, man. That is incredible. So when you go to these different, is there certain areas where you can do this type of skiing? Like, because at the end of the day, like it feels like you're kind of just foraging out on your own to try and find a spot to kind of come down the hill, right? Is there rules and regulations? There also has to be some risk involved, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't know what's under this powder. It's not a legitimate ski resort, right?
Correct. No, you can go where, as soon as you're out the ski resort, you go wherever you want. That's what I like. There's no one telling you, hey man, you can't duck this rope, you can't go over here, you can go there, can't go there. As long as it's not private property, you can go wherever the heck you want. Now, yes, there are risks with that. The main one being avalanche.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Right. Avalanche, man. Avalanches, that's the number one killer, out there,
Yeah.
in the backcountry. But in order to get around that, you have to get educated. So, I went to what's called kind of ski mountaineering school about, 23 years ago now.
Yeah.
Went to Colorado Mountain, Colorado Mountain Club when I first, moved here to Colorado. And that was a 9-week course where they, some of it is classroom. Let's understand, what avalanches are. Let's understand the physics of it. Let's understand, the theory of how to mitigate, not get yourself slid on. But then, hey, let's actually go out. So you're going out, 2 or 3 times a week, at 13 and 14,000 feet, and you're, really skirting, in and around avalanche terrain. You're in it so that you can know how to avoid it, know what it feels like, and by the way, even what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Those avalanche crystals taste a certain way.
So you can kind of tell when it's coming because you have some sort of like because you've gone through the training.
You've gone through the training, but there are also, in this digitized, age, you can also just go on the website.
Right.
Here in Colorado, we have, the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. Just go there, and they will tell you, hey, you know what, we're seeing avalanches at, at 11,000 feet on the eastern aspect. And hey, temperatures are going to rise, so they're especially going to be, propagating, especially around, between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So
Right.
you just go on there and read all that information. You're like, oh man, they just told me where the hood is. I'm not going to go to the hood.
That's good. Wow. So, okay. So I'm curious now, since we're on this topic, right? Has there been a moment where you went out there and I don't want to say maybe you took a risk, but you were like, hey, it's getting a little sketch right now. Do you have any moments where you thought it might be a wrap, like where it got really kind of sketch out for you?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I've been in the backcountry now. It's 20, 25-ish years, and you're not in the backcountry for that long without stuff happening.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I've been out there, with say like the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports, and I'm the by the way, I'm the backcountry director for the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports. But I've taken people through the ropes,
Yeah.
and said, hey, again, chasing snow, everything was skied out, inside the ski resort. But hey, I know where the butter is. I know where to go get some more powder. Um, but this one time I had some brothers with me who got a little low, on the traverse. We were out, and I was like, hey, you can't go the way you want to go. And they're like, well, there are no tracks. There are no tracks down there. I was like, yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason there's no one's been down there, because that area avalanches every year. Avalanches are cyclical. They happen the same location, same aspect every year. So you might not want to go there. But hey, I'm also that guy that will, let you do you. Hey, I'm gonna dip around the side, but hey, I'm gonna meet you down there. But when I dipped around the side, I got a phone call.
Yeah.
And it was them saying, hey, we're an avalanche. And their next question is, do you know where we are? I was like, I know where you are, exactly where I told you not to go. So yes, we went over, dug him out. Luckily they were only buried. One brother was only buried up to his neck. If it were
what?
Yes.
How are they calling you if they were? I can't even imagine that. That'd be so. The snow is up to their neck.
Yes, the brother who was not in the avalanche gave me a call. So yeah. So that's one story we saved. I was also National Brotherhood of Snow Sports. We were doing a class. I was showing people, how to be safe, and we were riding snowmobiles, and we came upon a lady from North Carolina who lawn darted herself off of her snowmobile, landed in deep powder. Now it's an avalanche situation because she's under the snow. We just happened to come along. We're digging her out. She's screaming like crazy. She has a broken arm. My team, we field dress her arm, wrap her arm up so that holding, but she's still upset. And we're like, why are you upset? She's like, oh, I'm pregnant. So right. so
what?
Then, right. So
then, now why would she be out there then?
Well, people do what they do.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So then it because we were just going to get her out by the snowmobiles. Hey, get you in your car, get you on the way. But at that point, it was like, no. I went talked to the rangers, to the forest rangers there. Said, hey, here's the situation. We need a helicopter. So they brought a helicopter, got her up out of there, got her and the baby, all good.
That's insane.
Yeah, man. Had some situations.
Whew. Yes, that's wild. That is wild. Well, so I mean, what does it feel like when because at the end, like you said, you're leading groups up there and making sure you take care of people. How important is that aspect of safety? Like, do you feel like you have to try and like really dial it in on people, or do people understand? Because it feels like a mix. Like that first group, you told them not to do it and they still did it. Is it a little easier depending on the type of the person? How do you adjust to safety regulations?
Man, so good question. So for if you're a beginner, then that's more, hey, my safety is very high. I'm not going to give you too long of a leash, but I do have brothers and sisters who are quite experienced. Actually, the brothers I was with, they're actually quite experienced. I mean, and so there's that risk reward ratio, and so I let him. I'm like, hey, I want to let you be you. I want to let you do what you do. I'll be here for you to get you out.
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. Because I want because I've been on that side too, where I've been like, hey man, I'm gonna jump this cliff. It's one of the bigger cliffs that I've done. You got me? Like, hey man, if I break my leg, we out here, miles away from nothing. You got me. So
Right.
it's sort of like that, but you
Like a
have to.
spotter at the gym. Like you feel like you can do something because you've got somebody watching you.
Right,
I
exactly.
feel you.
That's
Okay.
exactly it, brother. Yeah, yeah. It's a spotter at the gym.
Best way I can. I'm trying to find ways to make it with that spot at the gym. Okay. Wow, man. Okay, look, I have to ask you also because heard that you also skywalk. I don't. I almost have no idea what do you. What is that? Break that down for me.
Call it sky running.
Sky
So
running, even cooler. Even cooler name.
sky running. So I have a home in Frisco, Colorado. So that's at about 9,000 feet. But I live under 10-mile range, and 10-mile range goes up to about 12,000 feet.
Mhm.
So especially in the summertime, so I need to cross train. I can't just be out there, you know, uh, eating pints of ice cream, which I do love ice cream, all summer and not do something with that. So man, I'll run from 9,000 feet. Hey, let's get all the way up to 12, 13,000 feet. Now you're running on the knife edge of the mountain, and so you're literally running at 12, 13,000 feet. So you're sky running. And what I like about this, man, it's not just me. I go with other brothers and sisters. So I'm not that one crazy brother. There's a collective of this.
Yeah. So how long would something? So that's part of the training. Right? How long is it? Like how long is that workout? If you're going from 9 to 12,000 feet, that's. I mean, that's feels like have to be out there all day long and come back and
Yeah,
in, right?
man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm out there. So when you think about training, sometimes I don't think about the number of miles. It's how long can you be out there with your endurance?
Yeah.
Because especially because you're going to be out there in the elements. So in the wintertime it's cold, and and in the summertime, hey, it's a little warm. So yeah, we're out there for 3, 4 hours, but there are days when we're out there for 14, 16 hours. We're getting up. What we do is we call it dawn patrol. um, Especially, for example, if we do something in the summer in Colorado, like clockwork, thunderstorms come in about 1 or 2 o'clock. That means if you want to go up to 13, 14,000 feet, you have to start your run at about 4 or 5 a.m. So you out there running with the headlamp, um,
What does
getting
that
it
mean?
in that way. And then, yeah, about then you're trying to be done by at least 1 o'clock. So yeah, these are long days sometimes.
Whew. So what is it like? Like you said, you're training obviously, so that way in the wintertime that you're good to go. Which one do you enjoy the training, or is that just kind of part of it for you?
So the training, uh, you know, I played a lot of, younger, I played baseball. That's not like a big endurance. It's like, man, if you hit a triple, that's about as far as you're going to run.
Right.
Um, so I had to learn to be an endurance, athlete. And then what really got me into it wasn't the physical, it was the mental, man.
Yeah.
Man, so endurance training is my meditation. It's where I go to talk to God. That's where I go to be with God, man. And because we all got problems, in this world, but that's a place where I can go, and everything's not coming at me because I'm in the mountains. And guess what? The mountains are bigger than all of our problems. The
Right.
mountains are bigger than all of our problems. So I go literally tell it on the mountain.
I love that. I love that. I love that, man. So, I guess you mentioned that you're not the only brother up on the mountain with you. Like you said, there's other brothers and sisters. Why is it important to get more people that look like us out on the mountain, whether it's the wintertime or it's the summertime, and just being able to be outdoors and what that means to us in our community?
Man, so first of all, let me say I'll be out there with anybody, especially as long as we have a like-minded,
Hmm.
but for brothers and sisters, man, it's like being with your cousins. Like, back in Delaware, I was out there with my cousins, Lamont, Kim, Pooch, you know, uh, my cousin Marky, everybody. And we would, we would run I would say run the streets, but they're the farm streets, and I love that because you with your peoples.
Right.
Then, of course, graduate HBCU, that dynamic changes, not working with us as much. Go to the ski resort again, not as much as us, out there. So I had to do something, man, to create community,
Right.
for myself. So I made it my personal mission to start to find other brothers and sisters. And I would find them. I'm like, I know you lonely out here.
Right.
I know you lonely out here, because
Because I am.
right, and because I would always say to people, my homeboy, Carl Terrell lives in Colorado Springs. I was like, when I found him, I was like, man, Colorado is the most beautiful but lonely place for a brother. But then I found my man, Carl Terrell and Marcus Price and Eric Ray, all these other brothers I started to find, and then all of a sudden, you're not so lonely anymore, and they're rolling. We're all rolling at the same level, and again, it's back to indescribable thing where I was trying to talk about the powder. When you're up there with your peoples, and you're like, man, I know there's no place on the planet where brothers are out here in New Zealand skiing these big backcountry mountains, doing it like us. No, and so that just, I don't know, man. There's nothing like it.
What are some of the challenges that you found, other than the fact that sometimes you're alone, but some of the challenges of trying to get into this as a black man?
It's definitely the entry. So first of all, it's expensive.
Mm.
Because most of us are going to start at the resort. So you want to buy some skis and boots. Okay, that's $1,500 right there. Oh, and you want to stay warm. Oh, and you want to stay really warm, because that's the most important thing. Man,
Yeah.
if you want to stay really warm, then that's about a good $800. Oh, now you want a ski pass? You want a season ski pass? That's another $800. It starts adding up. So economics, is probably the number one, barrier, to that. They got clubs, the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports,
Mm.
for example, they got Hoods to Woods, out of the New York and Jersey area. So they're literally doing that. They pulling young brothers and sisters, out of New York or out of those areas, and then giving them access, giving them snowboards, giving them gear, giving them whatever to be able to, have access to the sport. So it's economics, man. That's the
Yeah.
number one barrier.
And so, if you're somebody that's trying to get into it, what is some advice that you might have for somebody, especially maybe somebody like me, young, old, who has been introduced through to your type of skiing? How does one get into it?
Yeah, yeah. First, get some vacation time. Yeah, get some vacation time. Give yourself, good, you know, 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
I would suggest, man, don't swing for the fences as far as a ski resort. Say like, I wouldn't show up at a Vail or an Aspen. Again, that's a lot of money.
Right.
There are a lot of small ski resorts, on the East Coast and out west. I personally like, places like Ski Cooper. Um, there's Monarch Pass. There's Loveland Ski Resort. These are where you're going to find, cats skiing in their jeans
Yeah.
because they can't afford, clothing. But you can show up to these places and you can get you a lift ticket that's actually still near or close to $100.
Hmm.
Which if you go to Vail, it's gonna, for a day, it's gonna be 220, 230. Um, rent, and then the next thing is renting the gear. Again, if you go to these smaller, mom and pop ski resorts, hey, you could get you a lesson pass. You can get you rentals and lessons for somewhere around some of these places, $25 to $40.
Yeah.
So you got the lesson and you have the gear all together. So now maybe you're out the door, maybe around 100, 120 or something like that, 130. Again, that's how I would, get into it. It's going to the smaller mom and pop ski resorts, and then once you figure out, hey man, I like this, and hey, I like to get a nicer lodge or whatever, then maybe go to the Vales and the Aspens. Um, Another way to get into this, especially for brothers and sisters, National Brotherhood of Snow Sports.
Mm.
Because National Brotherhood of Snow Sports, that, by the way, that's an organization. I'm going to throw you out a number here. It is more like 3,000 to 3,500 members worldwide.
Wow.
Spaced out between the U.S., the Caribbean, and Europe. So you show up at one of those local clubs. Here we have BIPOC Mountain Collective. We have Ski Noir 5280. So you show up at one of these, they're going to again give you gear. Hey, you want to go skiing? Hey, here's some gear. Here's some gloves. Here's some jackets. Oh, you need a ride? Especially Quincy, my man Quincy. He's rented a bus, or he has a bus where he takes people up to the mountains. Now you don't need to ride up there, and then he's going to help you with the lift pass as well. So that's the other route. If you want to be more inclusive or with brothers and sisters, then find a local chapter of the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports and talk to them. They're already gonna have those inroads figured out. They're already gonna have trips planned, so you could get in with them at your level.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, shoot. So that's what the future looks like for somebody like me that's just getting started. I'm curious now. Our last question before I let you go: what does the future look like for you as you continue to build in this community, both with getting more and more people in it, but also what you're trying to accomplish with your goals and aspirations in it as well?
Yeah, man. So with for the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports, I'm the backcountry director. So that means people that you've gone to the ski resort now, and you have a few skills. You don't have to be the best skier, but you're like, hey, I see what you're doing. Especially for older people, the ski resort can be a little hard packed, and so we need something that's a little less firm on our body, on our bones. So I'm working with the person who said, hey, I want to get out in the backcountry, start walking uphill. So how do I do that? So I'm helping that community out. For example, I took 28 brothers and sisters on a ski trip to Nevadas de Chillán, Chile.
Mm-hmm.
So so a lot of them, some of them actually got to experience, backcountry skiing, there, and being, skiing abroad is not the same thing as skiing here. It feels like you're in the backcountry, skiing at those places. Sometimes they make you wear all the avalanche equipment, when you're inbounds. So that's what I'm doing for community, and I'm helping people, even if you want to be inbounds, I'm helping them learn how to ski, So hey, Reggie, you show up, you're like, hey man, I'm a beginner. I will teach you. I'll teach you. I'll have you give me 2 days with you, man. I'll have you at intermediate. Give me 5 days with you. I'll have you skiing black diamonds.
Wow.
Right. Well, but what I'm doing on the other end of it is being the backcountry director for the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports. We have a capstone project, and our project is to ski mountaineer every continent. So we've done Alaska. Brothers and sisters have done Kashmir. We've done South America. We've done Japan. Just came back from skiing New Zealand. Met up with the Maori there. The brothers with the tattoos doing the haka. Man, that was love. That was love. Getting to meet those brothers and sisters down there. So 2 years ago we did Morocco. We skied the Atlas Mountains there. Stayed with the Berbers. Stayed in their homes with them. Broke bread that they made for us.
Wow.
And then they would, in order to, because you would start in their village, and then it was just like me being, at my house. I'm at 9,000 feet. I got to go to 13. So how am I going to do that? They gave us donkeys. So we would take our gear, put it on the donkeys, put our boots.
You said donkeys?
Donkeys. Yeah. Donkeys.
Wow.
So you put your gear, you give it to the donkeys in baskets, and then, they're off, and then you just walk at your pace without having all that gear. Now you get to the snow line. The snow line, is probably around, 11,000 feet. And now you put all your ski gear on, you put your skins on. Now you're walking up the mountain, with your ski gear, get to the top, And then ski back down to the donkeys. You know, put your gear back on the donkeys. Walk back down. By the time you get down there, man, they got that good Moroccan tea all ready for you, man. And then the only continent that we have left is Antarctica. So that is what we have teed up. It's either going to be 2025 of November or 2026. You know, because with that trip, first of all, it is minimum $17,000.
Wow.
And what that gets you is you fly to Ushuaia. So Ushuaia is at the very bottom of South America.
Okay.
I believe on the Argentinian side. But
Yeah.
then you take a mini cruise ship through the Drake Passage from Ushuaia all the way over to Antarctica. There's a huge peninsula that comes off of it. So I believe that's 4 or 5 days. And then you get some pretty good swells that you're going through.
That's what would stress me out, right? It's a small ship.
Right. So yeah, the swells, they said that, yeah, you're going to sometimes get some 90 foot swells. And, you know, yeah, it's like, you ever see that movie?
You're not scared of that, man? That sounds terrifying.
Man, you know, on my native side, there's a saying, hey, we're all going to die. Let's have a good death. Have a good one. And so, yeah, if you find that I went that way, don't be mad. Don't be mad, because that's the way. There's no other better way I could have gone. But yeah, man. So we got to take that ship over, then hit the continent and go ski Antarctica, man. So that's what the future holds.
That's insane. That's insane. You had me, Brett. You had me sold. I was ready to find 17 grand and hop on that trip with you until I heard 90-foot waves and being on a small boat. That's what separates us, man. I'm not ready for that yet.
Man, you know what? I haven't heard, because they do that trip every year, you know, so I haven't heard anything bad as of yet. So, you know, but yeah, you might get a little motion sickness, a little.
Well, either way, that's going to be awesome, man. And to be able to say you're one of not too many people that have been to Antarctica and to have skied it, that is going to be incredible, man.
Yeah, man. We're trying to live life, man. I'm not trying to be ordinary, you know, trying to live life.
Be extraordinary. Well, look, man, where can people find your extraordinary journey? Are you posting online? Where can people follow your journey?
Yeah,
someone to shout yourself out.
Yeah, on Instagram, man. Tele.Mike. You know, go hit a brother up. You know, got a few videos out there. So I think I got a few fresh videos out there from especially New Zealand. You know, so yeah, go check it out.
Tele Mike, thank you very much for